Alright, your non-resident training course, August 1994, equipment operator, basic Navy Trad 14081. Alright, Chapter 8, Forklifts. The forklift is a primary piece of equipment that is essential for the Navy construction force. Forklifts are used to support construction operation whenever there is a need to lift, load, unload materials and supplies. Because of the variety makes the models of forklifts to be used in the Navy construction force. This chapter covers only the characteristics, basic principal operations of forklifts. By reading operation manuals, you can be obtained detailed information about each make and model. Materials handling. Forklifts are classified material handling equipment terms. Materials have been described open activity. Every construction project operations require picking up, moving raw materials, process parts, finished products, tools, equipment, supplies, maintenance items. Every operation that requires raising, lowering, or moving an item classified in materials handling. Since material handling is involved lifting, lowering, and moving some form of forklifts expel other methods in handling. Forklifts are specialized, designed to ensure efficient handling materials under varied conditions. Design specifications, performance characteristics of forklifts, outline capabilities, limitations, adverse conditions. To operate a forklift efficiently, you must know the capabilities and limitations. The chapter covers the capabilities, limitation, attachments, principles of operation, warehouse, rough terrain forklifts. Alright, your warehouse forklifts. The most common type of warehouse forklifts used in electric, gas, or propane powered and have semi-solid pneumatic rubber tires. The forklifts are used in the warehouse on hard surfaces, outdoor surfaces. Warehouse forklifts 8.1 is a unit designed to pick up and carry. Figure 8.1 shows the warehouse forklift. Stack units and supplies, equipment standards. Warehouse forklifts have a capacity of 2,000 and 15,000 pounds, lifting heights of 100 to 210 inches. Warehouse forklifts are equipped with a telescopic mast that permits load to be lifted beyond the height of the collapsed mast. The height of the fork can be raised before inner side slides move upward from the mast to increase overall height and called free lift. Alright, your 4K rough terrain forklift. The 4K rough terrain forklift Eger 8.2 is a diesel engine, rubber tired, self-containing rider type mechanized material handling vehicle. They are designed to lift up to loads 4,000 pounds capacity with 24-inch load center to maximum height. 100-inch lifting forks are mounted on the front of the vehicle, engine facing the rear. Control operating lifting forks, lifting, tilting, rotating, and side shifting are located right to the right of where the operator is sitting in the operator's seat. The 4K R2 4K rough terrain forklift is designed to landing and unloading flat cars, flat trailers, cargo aircraft, landing craft. Additional 4K rough terrain is used for the stocking, unstocking, transporting heavy cargo, crated boxes, containers, palletized loaders, heavy equipment, supplies, and prepared unstable surfaces. The forklift is a primary forklift used in rough terrain such as beach, in deep sand, and terrain covered with ice, snow, and mud, where hand harness standard with the available the 4K rough terrain forklift can be used indoors or outdoors and is capable of fording streams of pools of water up to 30 inches. The forklift can be transported to the track by tractor trailer or by military aircraft. The 4K forklift may be driven in project sites under its own power with any special preparation. However, when performing pre-start operation check, you should ensure the safety pin is designed before operating. The safety pin prevents the forklift. Okay, shows the 8482, the 4K rough terrain forklift. Figure 8.3, safety pin. Kinkle pin. Install safety pin here with a locked chassis and store safety pin here. From articulating, therefore, forklift can be steered. For the design of the pin may cause serious injury or death. A 4K forklift can be towed rewarded using tow bar 8.4 located on the rear of the vehicle. Towing procedure for the 4K forklift is as follows. Remove the pin from the securing the tow bar with a vertical position, lowering the tow bar into towing position, attaching the pintle hook on the towing vehicle. Disconnect the hook end of the two safety chains on the forklift attached on the towing vehicle. 3. Push the axle disconnect lever in figure 8.5 to the right toward the front chassis. Disconnect the axles for towing The axle disconnect lever controls the engagement of transportation out of the output shaft of the front and rear axles. If this engages the operation, you should push the lever towards the rear of the vehicle. Open the steering bypass valve, figure 8-6, by turning the counterclockwise. The steering bypass valve allows the front chassis to pivot freely on the rear of the chassis when towing the forklift, but for normal steering controls, close the valve by turning the knob clockwise. Figure 8-4 shows the tow bar on the chains, the pin, and the tow bar. Figure 8-5 shows the axle disconnect lever. Figure 8-6 shows the steering bypass valve. Verify the steering bypass valve closed before operating the 4K lift. 5. Remove the safety pin in figure 8-3 from the installed. If it's installed, safety pin must not be installed when the forklift is being towed. Caution: pushing the forklift, install safety pins to prevent forklift the articulating damage of the tow bar. Note: do not tow the forklift faster than 35 miles an hour. The 6K rough terrain forklift. 6K rough terrain forklifts are all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering, material handles, equipment capable of lifting 6,000 pounds to a height of 200 inches. The 6K RT forklift is designed to handle loads over the rough terrain consisting of unprepared and unstabilized, such as pieces of deep sand, snow, ice, or mud. The 6K RT is used primarily with loading, unloading flatbed trailers, landing craft, and other types of cargo vessels. Hydraulic-operated forklift mechanism mounted on the extreme front of the 6K forklift provides lifting, reaching, lifting, sliding to loads, material handling operations. The unique design of the rough terrain forklift is oscillating hydraulic cylinder that allows the rotating of the forklift about a longitudinal axis, which being operated over rough terrain. The operator controls the rotation manipulation of the control, activates the oscillation hydraulic cylinder. The 6K RT forklift is also equipped with a power shift. Shows the 6K RF rough terrain forklift. Transmission for smooth acceleration, deceleration, easy handling. Lifting forklift. Navy Construction Force of the type of lifting forklift, figure 8-8, rated 12K, 16K, 2 miles lifted with a capacity of 12,000 to 16,000 pounds at 48 inches from load center with a height of 120 inches. The Lifting King is equipped with a forklift, oscillation, load side shift, and lifting interpretive fork position, 4-wheel, 2-wheel crab, steering selection, counterweight lowering. Lifting King forklift is equipped with the inches of controlling the control of the inch pedal located with the left of the brake pedal. Depressing the inch pedal slightly varies the amount of the oil pressure in the transmission, allowing the forklift to be inched along slowly while the engine is operated with a high speed for the fast lifts, and when the engine pedal is depressed fully, the transmission is disengaged. Do not use the inching pedal as a clutch under high torque requirements. The massive Lifting King forklift is equipped with a lifting interpreter device that prevents lifting fork assembly above 43 inches from the ground. This safety device is to prevent raising the mast while inside the aircraft, causing extensive damage. To lift loads higher than 43 inches, you must pass the red-colored manual lifted interpreted override button. The button allows the forklift to attain maximum lift height when required. Lifting Fork King is air transportable. However, when the load per axle weight cannot be exceeded, the front carriage assembly and the rear counterweight must be removed. The procedure for the carriage removal is as follows. 1. Lower the forks to the ground. Tilt the mast slightly forward to produce a slack of lifting chains. Remove the lower chain and anchor pins. Raise the mast over the carriage rollers and back forth lift and leave the rocking forks carriage and on the ground. Note: the reinstallation the procedures are simply reversed. The procedure of the counterweight removal is as follows. Remove the 2 bolts on each side of the forklift that secure the counterweight. Lower the counterweight lifting arm. Result with the counterweight on the ground. Hydraulic control lever located in the back of the operator's cab to the right of the seat. Remove the pin from the shackle to disconnect the arm from the counterweight. Remember, store the bolts and pins in the toolbox. Drive the forklift away from the counterweight. Note: when Lifting King forklift is transported on a tractor trailer, see the exhaust pipe to prevent the auto rotation of the turbocharger turbine due to winding velocity. Failure to do so could result in damage to the turbine bearing due to the lack of lubrication. Figure 8-8 shows the Lifting King forklift. Figure 8-9 shows the counterweight. Art attachments give the forklift versatility with allow them to do work with efficiently. However, you must remember that the attachment reduces the capacity of the forklift change with the center of the gravity of the load. Forklift extensions that are known by the term tine fork extender, designed for two configurations: bar tine extender, rollerized tine extenders. 811. Extender provides additional length with the forklift tines to permit an easier load with the tractor trailer's Air Force 463L pallets. The extender moves the center of gravity of the load, restricting the weight of it can be lifted, and you must remember these restrictions when using extension handle held in bulk load. Lifting King forklift has 810 is the bare tine extender. A set of roller tine extensions designed with attachment roller tines used in handling 463L plates. Crane boom attachment. The crane boom attachment converts the forklift into a mobile crane jib capable of handling bulky, irregular shaped objects. Variable in aid and maintenance figure 812. The crane boom is raised and lowered with a standard lifting mechanism. Drum handling. Drum handling attachment can be handled with 55-gallon drums, means for the forklift, the truck. The three types of drum handling attachments are shown in figure 8.3. The first consists of a series of special shaped space forks from the cradle of the drum to be handled in figure 8.3 view A. The attachment handles the three filled drums at one time. The second type is mounted on the forklift, so the forklift consists of side rails with especially designed hooks and are suspended with the front or rear figure 812 view B. The attachment is lowered over the drums until the hooks drop on the position over the drum rims. The attachment can handle the two filled drums at one time. The third type is vertically operated and handles one filled drum at one time, figure 812 through 813 view C. Principal operations. Forklifts operate simple principle on fulcrum, playground, teeter-totter, or unit load. Figure 811 shows rollerized tine extenders. Figure 812 shows a crane boom attached to the forklift. Figure 813 shows a drum handling attachments. Drum handling attachments. The drum handling attachment, single drum type horizontal carry. Drum handling attachment, single drum type vertical carry. On the forks must be counterbalanced with the counterweight weight of the forklift. The fulcrum and its drive axle. The forklift must be physical, small, compact, work in confined areas such as boxcars, container vans, nor easels. Always, additional forklift must offer enough working space for both operator and maintenance personnel. Must handle maximum loads and stack safety. Still have upright minimum load and collapse height in the maneuver end. Alright, 814 technical terms used in forklifts. Shows the mass of the upright assembly, lift cylinder, load back, rest extension, carriage, forklifts, and tilt cylinder. The collapse height of the weight is the distance from the floor to the top of the mast for the forks are in the lower position. The maximum for the height in the distance from the floor to the top of the forks when mast is fully raised. Maximum fork height. Overall extended height. Overall extended height is the distance from the floor to the top of the load bracket extension with the mast and fully raised. Your three lifts in the distance from the forks may be used before the collapse mast height is increased. Areas of low overhead clearance. They must be able to negotiate inclines either empty or low with the technical terms associated forklift operations explained in figure 814. Capabilities and limits. The safe, efficient use of forklifts requires safe skill, alertness, horn operated with the majority material handling operation. Forklift excels because it is self-propelled, requires only operated to control lifting, transportation, stacking, unstacking. Develop the skills required for the safe, efficient forklifting operations. You must have an understanding of makeup, capabilities, limitation of forklifts. See that they can maintain a good mechanical condition. In selection of forklift, consider the performance, height, power, capacity. Also consider the available space area of the forklift and must operate in. Note: for complete information on the capabilities of your forklift, refer to the operator's manual provided by the manufacturer. Lift height. Forklifts are available to standard models with lift heights up to 210 inches. Lift height with the forklift selected operation depends on the low-high material is stored and the overall height of the forklift must lower and the most clear the door and casings, overhead objects. Other building limitations, although these restriction limitations on the lift to height during unloading and loading cargo vessel trucks and tractor trailers and so forth. Alright, capacity. Capacity of the forklift must be equal to the task. For this reason, the weight of each load must be known before lifting is made. The center of the balance of the critical factor capacity on most forklifts. The center balance is under the operator's seat, is shown figure 815. When A lifted, combined center of balance is C. Center balance C on the center balance is created, shown figure 816. The load is raised to the C. CB changes, shown figure 817. A forklift is designed to lift the maximum capacity of the load center on the forklift, not tip over off the forks. Caution: never lift a load with the load balance on the tip of the forks. You should know where the center balance is before any load. The center balance of the load should be as far back as possible if the center balance. Figure 815 shows the center balance of the forklift. The center balance is right underneath the seat and the center balance of the load. Figure 817 shows the movement of the combined center balance is loaded raised. If one side of the figure 8 to 18 in the load may flip on the forks and land on the side on its face side once you lift it. Center balance of the load should be placed directly on the front of the center balance of the forks, as shown figure 819. Additional center balance should be centered in place as far back as possible from on the forks. Alright, operating techniques. Because operating a forklift, you must have proper authorization possessed through the understanding of the operator's manual safety precautions. If in very little experience operating forklifts, make sure qualified operators guides you through at least several operating load handling operations before. Figure 818, top view of how the combined center balance moves the center balance of load. How the center balance should be centered. Alright, attempting to operate the forklift on your own. Basic education, safe operation, loading, handling techniques is absolutely necessary to prepare you for the proper operation, enables you to anticipate unexpected. Note: a forklift is only as safe as its operation. Only authorized, properly trained, licensed personnel may be permitted to operate. I think we gotta read it 2.8.2.5, sorry. Alright, pallets and boxes. Most of the loads were handled with the pallets or in boxes. Standard pallet 40 inches by 48 inches, shown figure 820. Mount on the boxes in all different sizes. However, they have stringers like pallets. Lifting. The technique for lifting a pallet is always as follows. Position forklift squarely on the front of the load. Raise the forks to the proper height level halfway between the top and the bottom of the boards of the pallet. Slowly insert the forks into the pallet until the load rests against the forks faces. If the mass is not in vertical position, the forks may hang in the pallet when they are inserted. Note: if the pallet load against the wall and the obstruction forks are longer than the pallet, you will have to pick up the pallet, back up the forklift until there is enough room to reposition the forks entirely under the pallet. Lifting the load enough to clear the floor or stack beneath the loading being removed. The tilt over the mass forks from backing up the cradle and load. The load should always be carried as low as possible as maximum stability. Figure 820 shows a 40 by 48 inch pallet. Warning: overloaded forklift strictly prohibited. The forklift can safely lift the carrying of the no more than its raised capacity. Among the dangers of the overloading and injury with the operator: damaged cargo, damage the pump of the lifting mechanism. Additional overloading cover the wear of the tires, engine, electrical motor, as forklift will tip forward, lower, and load of the forks exceed the lifting capacity of the forklift. The manufacturer has established the forklift rating expressed in pounds on the load of the fork and the allowing distance in inches from the heel of the forklift center of gravity of the load, the distance known as the load center. Alright, carrying material with a forklift to move it in one location to another requires skill and concentration. Technique for the carrying loads with a forklift as follows. Tilt the mass as far back as the load will permit. When carrying the load, raise the load only high enough to clear the obstruction. Always change the speed gradually. As sudden starts and stops will cause the load to shift. Gradually start and stop all to prevent rapid wear of the equipment and components. 2. Always know the ground clearance of your forklift and surface you are traveling on. If you load the bulky vision, the obstructed driving in reverse, the extra care must be taken when driving in reverse because the operator does not have constant view of the load. Therefore, a pick and back and guide is usually needed. 3. You should extend descent of the grade with the loading point upgrade with the operating of the loading forklift on an incline. Normal direct figure 821 normal direction should be determined with the direction the operator can see best when the forklifts are built with a reverser as well as forward travel, but on the grades are 10% or more for both forklifts, and loads typically depend on the load of the cap upgrade. Handle each load with a rated capacity forklift. The rated capacity of the weight of the forklift can handle the safety. The forklift data plate rate, including the maximum safe load, can be lifted. This maximum rating should never be exceeded. However, there are conditions requiring load less and rating the capacity. The data plate rating does not apply this week. Figure 8, 12, 21 show the direction of travel. Alright, floor uneven terrain, space loading, handling attachments low with a heavy center of gravity. Under these conditions, use safety working load as well with below rated capacity. Under special conditions, you must reduce your load so your forklift remains stable. Handle only stable loads. Many loads are unstable items that can be easily dislodged. The rules critical for safety of the forklift. It's not equipped with an overhead guard with rollover protection structure. Center of the weight with the wide loads between the forklift and forks, and otherwise the load may be toppled over the forks when turned on the corner of the hit a bump. 7. Watch the swing handle long loads. Failure to watch the clearance end of the loads can strike the person and objects. 8. Keep the load against the carriage by maintaining a slight backward tilt. 9. Do not travel with the load raised higher than 6 inches from the floor until you are ready to deposit the load. And when the loads are carried in an elevated position, the stability of the forklift is reduced. The load and part of it can fall on someone or something. Drive carefully, observe the traffic rules, and be in full control of the forklift at all times. Positioning. When loading and stacking material, move the forklift truck forward until the original load arms entirely loaded to be lifted. Ensure load is centered on the arms, so that it is well seated against the face of the lifting carriage. Picking up the round objects, reverse tilt up the right and fork slide from the floor to the ground of the object lifted, shown in figure 822. The decelerate, tilt backward, accelerate until they are enough backward, tilt over the mass to allow the safe handling of the load. Note, lifting speed is controlled by the speed of the engine extent with the control lever pulled, and the engine speed has no effect on the lowering speed. Never raise the engine while hoisting a load. Too much load engine speed will not increase the speed of the hoisting mechanism, but may result in fast wear and possible damage to the engine. From practice experience, you will be able to determine the best hoisting speed, sound, and feel light. The load has been raised with the desired height. Easy hoist the lever in the neutral position. Move the forklift, and the base of the sack load is to be placed. 822 shows tilt position of picking up round objects. Wrong, right. Alright, although the load may be placed on the remove of the stack without using the hoist lever, you will learn the practical load that can be placed and removed entirely with a tilting mechanism. The tilting mechanism is designed to raise the load arm slightly as the mass is tilt backwards. Practice raising the load while forklift draws near the stack. Reduce strain with the engine, then the brakes. The problem of load handling. Keep them in mind. Carefully planned operations produce the most for the work, least fatigue in yourself. Lifting lower mass vertical and tilting slightly backward elevated loads forward only where they are directly over the unloaded place. If loading and lifting mechanisms are ready, pick up and deposit the load. Reduce the tilt over the either direction. Remember the side stability of the load. Do not tilt back any further than necessary. Caution, under no condition should additional counterweights be added to any material handling equipment. Increase the stability, lifting capacity, long objects. As a forklift operator, you must also be tasked with lumber, steel, piling pipe. You must know the center balance in moving along loads, moving along objects, and taking special forklift operators. Carrying the load of the forklift, shown in figure 823, too wide of the door of the warehouse. In case of the techniques operation, shown in figure 822, should be followed with a forklift load. Long load carrying can be maneuvered through the door when practice, and techniques can be used to maneuver around obstacles. Positioning a long object and loading can be a problem when the best place for the dunge under the protection is not a pallet. The thickness for the dunge should allow the force to slide out freely and load of a piece of pipe or piling or any other round, but you must place the blocking dunge to prevent round objects rolling. The tilt the forks to forward until they are flat over the floor. Slide them underneath the object. Forklift safety. Safety vital part of forklift operation. Many forklift safety practice simple, clear, and driving family automotive. For instance, to start your car, you check the transmission is in neutral or park. When starting your car, you do so gradually but not abrupt. Because the forklift is a special machine designed different purpose, must exercise more caution, receive more training, operate forklift properly. The techniques for safe forklift operation are as follows: avoid lifting, hitting anything that is likely to fall on you or other personnel in the area. Remember, the forklift is equipped with overhead guard or OPS. Load too wide to maneuver through warehouse door. Alright, move the forklift load close to the side of the door. Make a turn sharp turn to swing the load. Complete the turn and move the load to the other side. 5. Swing the remaining portion into the door and then load through the door into the building. Alright, the load bracket extension provides reasonable protection against falling object. Cannot be protected against every impact of the forklift. Without overhead guard, provides no protection for a reason. Should never attempt to pick up any loose, unstable stack or stack loaded. It appears that any part of the elevated load might topple through over top of the upright, fall anybody standing near you. You should also avoid hitting certain objects such as stacked material that could cause dislodge or fall. Do not move your forklift around load carriage elevated. The rules apply whether or not the forklift is equipped with an overhead guard and are important. If not, protect with the overhead guard. Enforce the rules as means a smaller load. You are protecting yourself and others in working areas. Use a secondary safety platform when lifting personnel. Forklift is built for only one ride of the operator because of the hazardous condition can result unauthorized for anyone to ride the forks of the forklift. Hitch a ride in many manner. If the forklift is used to elevate workers, the safety platform must be secured to the forks through the forks. The platform should be specially built, secured to the kit. Keep it from slipping from the forks. It should be a solid floor door and handrail. Figure 8.25. Keep arms, leg inside of the operator compartment. Holding them outside of the machine can be dangerous in narrow aisles. 4. Keep yourself and all others clear of the hoisting mechanism. Never put hands, arms, heads, or legs through the hoisting mechanism. The rules apply with both you and the rigger. The rigger should not be near the load or hoisting mechanism while you're attempting to pick it up or hoist or deposit a load. 5. Never allow anyone under the load. 6. Report damage, faulty equipment immediately. Do not operate forklift that is unsafe. You can complete the job of the forklift safely only when working correctly. Therefore, a forklift should never be operated and is not running properly. 7. Avoid bumps, holes, slick spots, loose material that may cause forklifts to swerve or topple over. Different models of forklifts are designed to operate different conditions. Although large forklifts can adapt to a more uneven ground, do not expect them to maintain their balance under abusive ground conditions. Try to pick up smoothest area, moving material from one place to another. Figure 8.25 shows a safety platform. Travel slow with the narrow aisles around the corners, especially blind corners. Help around the collisions. You should sound your horn in advance. 9. Lower the carriage completely. Set the parking brake before leaving your forklift. Block the wheels and parking the incline work over the forklift. The rules apply under all conditions, even if you are going to leave the forklift for a moment. Driverless forklift does not have to have a move far and close to the quarters to cause serious injuries. 10. Do not turn on an incline for stability. The forklift should not be driven alongside of an incline that leans the forklift sideways. Always keep either the rear end of the rear or front end of the forklift pointed up or down the slope. Do not fill the fuel tank when the engine is running. Suddenly starts and stops cause the premature wear of the forklift, such as axle gears cause tire wear faster. Personal nearby become injured. Materials may be damaged by a forklift suddenly going into motion, going out of control. 13. Because the forklift is designed to perform many functions in small space, you must anticipate certain clearance situations. As an operator, you must be aware forklifts will sometimes protrude beyond the front of the load. Because of this, you may strike objects and lift and nudge other loads on pallets. Many serious mishaps can cause uprights and overhead guards striking piles. Beams are connected to the ceiling of the warehouse. Some forklifts model steering from rear axle. On these machines, the tail swings can hurt personnel or damage property. Caution. Fail to keep careful watch in the direction of the travel can result in damage to something or injury to someone. Chapter 9. Front-end loaders and excavators and ditchers.